What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Technician. Now, today is another episode of the Toolbox. So, the Toolbox with the Technician. Essentially, what I want these episodes to be is a nice, quick little episode around giving value, tips, tools, tactics, all the things to help you guys. Now, some of these things are going to be off the top of the head. I literally looked at my podcast machine this morning and thought, man, I need to make another episode. I want to give people more value. Chuck the camera on, chuck this on. Brought a bit of a list up, which I'll be reading from. So in the camera, you're probably going to see me reading this, which is fine. We do what we got to do. But essentially what I've come up with is a heap of different dot points around some of the things a lot of people struggle with within their own self-love. And I'll try to come up with some ideas on how to overcome these for you as well on the spot, as this is something that I've done in the past and what's been a big part of my journey up until now. So, starting with the first one, comparing ourselves to others on social media. Fuck yeah, that was the worst one for me, actually. Starting my journey out, I really was looking at other people, especially in this space, other podcasters, other brands, online brands. I even, as a personal story, I used to watch Isaac John all the time. I still do, but in the beginning, at one point, I had to unfollow him because I couldn't stand seeing him winning and doing all the things, right? And that's that insecurity. That's that sometimes we will be watching someone and be like, why aren't I there? Why can't I be like them? When really all you need to focus on is what you're doing day to day. You're at a completely different journey to them. I didn't know that at the time, and a lot of us don't know that. We're always going to compare themselves. I know people have compared themselves to myself in the past when I sit there thinking, man, I'm still just getting started too. I'm only a couple of years into this. And knowing your value, there's no need to be looking at what others are doing. Literally focus on you. Who gives a fuck what anyone else is doing? Celebrate them, send them love, because you will then be reciprocated with that same feeling within yourself. But it does start with self. Negative self-talk. That's a big one. People don't realize how powerful words are for us and what they can do to us. By consistently saying something over and over and over again, our unconscious mind listens to all of it. And the more you say, I have a shit memory, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, yeah, it's going to take it all on. It's going to create your world the way you perceive it, the way you believe it, and the way you speak it. So why would you not speak positively more often about yourself? I can make sense of the fact not everyone's going to be going around making sure they change their language all the time. I got caught up in that in NLP. It's a great thing, though, because you do catch yourself. I think you need to go through the more intense phase and, getting used to not saying but too much or not speaking negatively about yourself, because you will start to believe that, as it is repetition that creates that, that mission within you. So for me, it can go both ways, positive or negative. And obviously I try to speak more positive about myself, and something I get my clients to do is that gratitude stuff, the affirmations. Yeah, they're a bit, woo-woo, cuckoo, whatever you want to call it, but they fucking work. So if you sit there and build repetition as you go to the gym, why not sit 10 minutes in the morning, grab a little journal and say, I am beautiful, I'm amazing, I'm powerful. Like, these things work. And the reason I know they work is I did that. It's the first thing I started with Bob Proctor course in 2020, I believe it was, or 2021. And it helped me heaps because I looked in the mirror and I'd start to believe what I was actually saying. So that's a big one. Difficulty setting boundaries. This was me all over. Probably still sometimes. But setting boundaries is so important, because once you respect yourself enough, you'll be happy to say, no, I don't want to go to that thing. Now, there are compromises in life I get within relationships. We need to, or we get to meet halfway with our partner with some things. There might be a event on the weekend that you don't want to go to or whatever, but you want to support each other too. And though, we're all as important as each other. So if you finally get to the point where you love yourself and respect yourself, you will happily set that boundary. You won't people please anymore. You won't drop everything you're doing just to go and help someone else. Now, it is nice to do nice things for others, especially our friends. But just don't become that person that's always doing it. It's like you've planned something this weekend for a Saturday, finally get to go do something for you, and then that person who's always asking for help and knows you're the people pleaser and the yes man or the yes woman, and they hit you up and you go, and you're in your mind, you're thinking, fuck, I really don't want to do that. and I don't have to do that. And then you end up saying yes. So you go against all your inner beliefs and you start to resent yourself because you went against yourself. And that's one thing I've realized lately is I'm having some really uncomfortable conversations where I need to, because it leads to self-love. It's building that barrier within where we know ourselves and love ourselves and will respect ourselves, and we'll also still do kind things for others, but kind things for ourselves first where we can. Perfectionism. Ooh, that's a big one. I see a lot of people around me do that. It's probably one of my biggest traits with not having any perfectionism whatsoever. It's probably also a little bit of a weakness where I could meet halfway, maybe take my time on some things, and rather than just going out and throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks, I could actually take some more time and, maybe move towards that barrier a little bit more. But perfectionism can be something that holds us back, and that can also come through from things in our past where we've been judged on what we've done, the effort, nothing's good enough, etc., etc. So rather than actually just go and do the thing, we get that procrastination in our mind of, oh no, what if it's not? What if it doesn't turn out like this, this, and this? What if it does turn out like this, this, and this? Look at the other side of the coin and embrace the fact that it could turn out in so many other beautiful ways other than what you expect normally, that perfectionism within you. Feeling guilty for taking time for themselves. Oof, I would assume probably the biggest demographic for this is going to be mums. And I get it because societally we've been told that we need to put everyone else in front of us, including our kids. And I get that because I have nephews, nieces, goddaughter, and I would do anything for them. But once we start to get to that point where we will do anything for anyone else but nothing for us, what do you think creates that within us? What sort of world and reality do we create within our own life by putting every single other person before us? And it goes back to that old saying of filling your cup first, it will overflow. It's so true. And it's a pretty basic thing, but honestly, the more you show up for yourself, the more you can show up for others. And I don't know why people forget this or don't know this or can't accept this. Because imagine if you're taking the time, even if it's an hour in the start of the day, to not pick up your phone, not look who needs to be helped out, especially if there's any coaches or anything listening right now, like myself. One of the biggest downfalls we can do is just be waking up, checking our phones and saying, oh shit, this client needs this. Look after you first. Take an hour in the start of the day to just, chill, medi, breath, do a poo, get in the shower. Whatever it is you need to do before you pick this bloody thing up, take your time for that. My God, I forget how thirsty I get doing these. So, struggling with body image. Ooh, that was me in the past for sure. I still have little things here and there about it, but that can be a big one. And for what purpose would we worry about this sort of stuff? In what reality is it worth wasting time on thinking what others think of us? I can understand that. Like, I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I know sometimes I might look at myself and feel like I don't do that, but I do. I know I'm strong. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm pretty fit considering my size. And I do what I need to do. And this is the body that, this is one thing I say to a lot of people is, if this is the body that I'm given with this lifestyle that I love, as in I train quite often and I train hard, I eat pretty much what I want, but I eat pretty healthy 80% of the time. I might have some Mackies and KFC and stuff here and there and a few beers, but it's not enough to say that I'm an unhealthy person, essentially. And I will go and have a nice dinner with friends. I will go and say Christelle wants to go to the markets on a Sunday and, eat some market food. That is what I'm going to do. And if this lifestyle I've built, this is the body that I receive during that. I know I could be a bit better with a bit more walking. This is the body I accept, and this is the body I love, and this is the body I show attention to by taking the time to look in the mirror and say, I love you for what you do, not how you look. And that's some pretty simple stuff, but again, it works. It's that repetition into the unconscious mind through the conscious to allow us to blend the two together to help to eventually believe and conceive that we are that by receiving the words and the love from ourselves before any others. Fear of vulnerability and opening up to others. Yeah, so I mean, this is a tough one for men, and I wish it wasn't. And we're doing our best to break that stigma. but I can make sense of it. I've been there before, and you feel like a burden. You don't want to open up to anyone because you feel weak. Men are supposed to be tough and strong, when really the toughest and strongest men I know are the ones that are vulnerable, that do open up. I know I'm a badass motherfucker, and I open up all the time, especially to my good mates. I'll open up on socials if I need to, and that's purely because I want other men to see that it's okay to do it, because it is okay. It's fine. If anything, it's a must. If anything, it is what will help you the most. So please, that fear of vulnerability and opening up, I know that it's been jammed into us by older generations or societal pressures, or, I know from a man's perspective, I know a lot of men I've spoken to, they feel that if they do show vulnerability, the women may perceive them as weak. And that's not just their partners, that's the general public, right? And that's why they speak the way they speak. And I'm a part of a few men's groups and our own Heart-Led Warriors, but there's some like, the blokes' advice and stuff like that. And the way I see the men speaking there, man, like it's starting to get better. It's starting to open up, but it's sad to see that there's this perception that men need to be all manly. But what is fucking manly? What is it? Who's created this whole... Anyway, I won't get into that. So the difficulty accepting compliments. Yes, that is a big one. I forgot to put that in there. That's huge, because really, if we can't accept compliments, it's actually blocking so many other things from life. That includes money. That includes opportunities. That includes new friends. That literally think of anything that you could receive energetically or physically, whatever, by blocking compliments and say someone says, "Oh, you look so pretty today." Like, oh no, it's just this. Like, bro, accept the compliment. Just say thank you and move on, because what that will begin to do is that will open up not only more compliments, potentially, if you're single, the person you want to bring into your life, because you're starting to love yourself. You're starting to build the energy, the vibration, the frequency. It's raising, and you're calling in someone of that level. You're sitting down in the dungeons and brushing everyone's compliments, and it's all negative, and it's like, nah, I'm fat. I got this double chin. Others, well, to what degree do you think that's going to lead to where you want to be? For what purpose would you continue to do that when you know it's not serving you any positive vibes whatsoever, if you want to put it in the most simple terms? And I know it's easier to hate us than love us when we don't truly believe it. But again, bringing all these up because I know they can be worked through, because I've fucking dealt with literally all of these. I'm looking at the list thinking, Jesus Christ, like I've been there. And they still come up sometimes. But it's through repetition, going towards the fears, figuring out the shadows, the beliefs, the programming, where it's come from, what's happened, healing the timeline, where it was, put in there, which is what we do through ECT, which is epic. Thanks, Liz, for creating that. Self-worth even. The self-worth and the self-love factor. Self-worth attached to money and the amount of money we can make, or opportunities. Well, that's what I've seen in my reality. So, yeah, that's a big one. Accept the compliments. Putting others' needs before their own. Yeah, I guess it's pretty similar to the other ones. Imposter syndrome. Yeah. Ooh. So I'm seeing it play out for a lot of people right now in my space, because a lot of people have probably seen what I've been doing, and a few other mates like Toddy, Jordan Potts, these guys, like myself, who are in mentorship, coaching, and helping others. There's a lot of other people wanting to do that, which is epic. We need more people doing it, because there's a lot of people struggling. So I'm seeing that the imposter syndrome picks up pretty quickly, because it might be someone who's coming from a full-time job they've had for 10 years, and they're stepping into a new space, and they're thinking, I can't do this. Who am I to say, and that'll pop up. I had that in the beginning when I started my podcast. I remember looking at the camera thinking, who am I to speak on anything? What have I done with myself? And, I was sweating. I was like nearly spewing. And it's actually a great reflection piece on what's happening right now, is that for me to think, I want to do a quick episode, chuck the camera on, chuck this potty on, and just smash it out. And I'm going to release it. I couldn't give a fuck if it's good or bad, because I know it's always good, because I am me. And I know someone's going to get some value from this somewhere. So if it's one person that gets help, that's why I must do this sort of stuff. Fuck the imposter syndrome. Like, for what purpose are you letting that stop you from doing something you've always wanted to do? You've got this future beckoning and calling you to it, and yet you're holding back because you're like, oh, that's not me. Come on, man. We need more people helping in this. Difficulty forgiving themselves for past mistakes. Forgive yourself. Shame and guilt, two super low vibrational emotions. Fuck them off. Difficulty asking for help. Yes, big one. Also, on that, if you find it hard to ask for help and yet you're the person always offering help, how can you give something you never actually received? How can you give something you never experienced? Are you truly giving the best help you can be giving if you've never actually given it yourself or asked for it yourself? Think about that one. Lack of self-care. Yes, we must. Exercise is so important, even if it's just a walk, some push-ups, some squats every day, just some movement. And then also, like, wear some deodorant, guys. For anyone that gets stinky, there's no need. We have that much healthy shit going around now. Stay away from those chemicals. Your aluminum, whatever you want to call it. Stay away from that stuff. There's so many different options now for that, and there's no reason you can't have a couple of showers a day. Difficulty being assertive. Yes. I am so much more assertive now, and it's changed my life because then you can set the boundaries. You can show up as, that masculine man who also has the feminine within, and, just having that assertiveness to the way you show up in life with your partner even, and yourself. You can respect yourself more, and you won't go around doing the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the drugs, addictions, all this sort of stuff. When you're more assertive with self even, that'll change your life. But being assertive in your relationship, being able to not be a prick or anything, but just say, hey, at the end of the week, just being like, hey, beautiful, I've had a really big week, and I'd just really appreciate if you'd allow me, sorry, not even like that. I am going out with the men tonight. I know I promised we'd do something, but let's go do something tomorrow morning and we'll have some fun. So it's kind of saying what you're going to do, but then also making sure you're looking after her needs too, or his needs. So knowing you may have made a promise to go to the markets the next morning or something like that, or just have a day together, just being like, hey, allow me to do this, and then we get to do this. And not so much coming from an ultimatum essentially, but just saying, hey, I really need this. I'm respecting myself. Please respect me. I love you. And moving forward, not being like, I'm fucking going out. I don't care what you say. There's so many different ways to go around that. And relationships is a big one I'll be touching on moving forward too. So people pleasing, difficulty letting go of the past, again, touching on that. Difficulty trusting others. When you don't trust yourself, you're not going to trust others. Feeling overwhelmed and burnt out all the time. Yep. Fear of failure. Oof, big one. And something I've recently coined, which was the fast action ignites learning. Fail all the time, guys. It lets you learn. I don't see failure as a bad thing. Who cares if you fuck up? You're going to learn. It's how I've gotten to the point I am now. I just fail. Self-sabotage. Yes, huge one. Feeling like they don't fit in or belong. My God, this bullet point of stuff just makes me realize why I do what I do and why I'm so happy that I help with what I help with. So if any of these hit you and you feel like you're struggling with them, reach out. Let me know how you feel about it. Reach out if you want some help around it. If these things are things you really struggle with and you can resonate with pretty much all of what I've just said, maybe it's time to have a bit of a look within and maybe start doing some self-work. Reach out to me, as I said, through the DMs. Hit me up with any questions you have. If there's anything you'd like to know about this, or if you'd like to share with these friends who might be struggling with their self-love, they might hear some things in here and say, oh shit, that's me. I need to get some help. The more we share, the more we care. The more we share, we get it out there and we change the world, the culture, the community together. Feel free to go review it, rate this. This is a really last minute, just spur of the moment podcast episode, but I do want to do more of these because I know there's so much value in what I do and what I say. I just want to get more of it out there to you guys. And then if you can spread it even more, epic. So I love you all. It's good to be back and doing this sort of stuff. So much love. Let's go.